Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's call. A lot of excited energy. If you're just kind of joining us, I just was on the line a minute ago saying hi to everyone, and I'm going to wait as I still see some people piling into the chat room and into the call. So we're going to get started here in just a second. I want to go over just some basic stuff with you guys as we get started. A lot of energy on the phone. This is going to be fun. I know there are lots of you with lots of questions, and so I'm going to actually, I have a couple things that have been coming through. When I start seeing multiple things in patterns in calls with people as themes start to emerge over the course of, hours or days or sometimes weeks and months, I always manage to take notes and jot down kind of, I don't do it consciously, as those of you who've already had your sessions notice. It's kind of, I may go into that space and, sort of hit all of the buttons and get all of the energy, and then, it's like I kind of go, okay, wait, I have no idea what I just said. Where did we go? But when I become conscious of things, when it pops up enough, it's kind of like, oh, I do remember this from earlier today. And so I'm going to start off with a couple of things that have been coming up so that we can all balance and move together. As all of you know, you've heard me talk on different shows, consciousness is united, even though some of us would like to be separate. There's a few of you on the phone, I can feel it. Or we go, well, I want to be part of the whole, but not that whole. So, there's like, well, there's that, there's us, there's them. We may get into a little bit of that tonight because that's not something I'd planned to talk about, but I just kind of felt maybe a little bit of that election hangover pop up in some of you. So I just want to say to you as well, if you would like to ask me a question or if you want to raise your hand on the phone call, you can press *2 that's right, *2 and the hand will raise. I'm looking at the screen here. *2 and the hand will go up, and it looks like we've already got quite a few of you, and I'm going to try to get as possible. We've already got a few on the webcast as well. And one of the questions, one of the first ones that rolled in on the I don't know what you'd call it, on the internets, whatever the kids call it nowadays, the internets, the interwebs. Somebody had a question. Let me pull it up here because I think this is where I want to start off before we get into it. It was Lemzo is the screen name, and Lemzo says, please outline the practical use of the formula. And as we're going to be using the formula, as well as probably divine love, you'll hear me kind of jump from one to the other, depending on maybe the consciousness and who we're working with tonight. I would like to kind of start there. So when I use the formulas myself, I just say I invoke the formula. And actually, this is actually cool. I just pulled up my sheet of things I wanted to talk about today that people were asking or things I was seeing, and that's actually number 4 on the list, but I'm going to start there. So when I tell people to invoke the formula, a lot of times people, and I get it, it's kind of a new thing, you're kind of feeling energy, or you're going, well, I don't know how this works, or what is frequency. I know when you see the package and you buy it, there's that little outline, and in the ebook I talk a little bit about what those frequencies mean, how to use frequencies, what frequencies are. I use the example of tuning the notes on a piano and doing that as far as creation. But what I've noticed when people are doing it, I've started seeing kind of an icon of a head and then just sound waves coming out of the head. And when you invoke the formula, what you're doing is you're not just speaking those words into existence. It's literally an invocation, like those words are being spoken into you as well. So where the picture that I was getting was kind of like a little head, like on the bathroom stalls, it's just kind of a generic little head, little person there, and then like little sound waves coming out. It would almost be like taking those sound waves, and yes, they are going out into the environment to create the things that you're wanting to create and shift the energy, but also see those waves coming back towards you. And also the picture I just kept getting private after private in the last couple of days was almost that energy being, as you invoke the energy and you speak it. I mean, I say it out loud. I just go, something's coming up, and I go, I invoke the formula. Well, what I kept seeing was that crown chakra open up and literally that energy pouring into the crown. So that may help a few of you who had questions about it. I know some of you have just been doing it and going, I don't even know what I'm doing, but it seems to be working. The other thing I wanted to point out is that as you invoke it, this is something that's come up a couple times in the session. We're not just invoking it to clear and balance the vibrations we're doing two things. We are clearing and balancing the vibrations, and then we're also directing the energy that is you to move you towards wholeness around the greater picture of wholeness for you, not wholeness according to, well, I make, $30,000 a year now at this job, and I'd like to make, $1 million, so I'm going to claim wholeness, but you have a limiting belief that says, well, you're only worth this much, or however that works. We're claiming wholeness around whatever wholeness looks like for you on the larger scale, where it doesn't really matter on that level. So it's always fun when people try to assign, well, I'm not whole until I hit $50,000 this year, or I'm not whole until, and I've certainly been guilty of that myself, so I totally get it and understand it because I have walked through that. When you can just kind of go, you know what, I am complete and whole in every moment, and I may be how I would define myself even a little bit from my own story in the past. It would be like, okay, I may be unwell in this moment, but I am whole in my knowing that I can become well, even if that's just kind of a gap. And I know I saw a couple of people with some medical stuff, so I've just got to give the disclaimer. Obviously, you guys know I'm an energy guy, so this is not substitute for medical advice or psychiatric advice, and it's not medical, all of that jargon. And at the same time, when I was looking at some of those medical questions that were rolling in, what was underlying most of those questions is I'm broken, or and this is a little bit of a deep statement, but a thought about death and what death actually means, and that death is the end as opposed to we all continue on and on and on and on. So there's some questions around that. So you may ask, as I'll get into the specific questions, and it may be a little different for each of you who ask those questions, but there are different things going on. And while we're addressing the different things, we're hitting the overall consciousness, not just of us on this call. I know we like to think that it's like, yay, we're going to come and I may get my actual question answered and I'm going to get this nice benefit of the group done, but we're actually healing the entire consciousness. It's kind of like, it's the opposite of if you've ever been in well, I won't use that. I was going to use a pool metaphor, and maybe someone has peed in that. Well, I will use that because I just said it. So maybe somebody's peed in the pool, right, and then it kind of soils the pool for everyone. Well, consciousness is almost like the opposite of the gross pool that you do not want to swim in. As a little bit of, clear water moves in, it actually, that is kind of the thing that takes effect over if maybe there's some murky water. So not that consciousness is murky, but, if you walk into a place, that actually brings me into the first thing on the list, which is I wanted to talk about all consciousness moving forward out of polarity. And where I was going to go with that, with the previous illusion, was there's this kind of belief in us that if we walk into, say, a room full of 20, people maybe we perceive as a dark energy or a fear energy or a lower vibration energy. And if people have questions around that, Dee Wallace and I, who have been doing a coaching program for the last couple of months called, jokingly, we titled it, Let the Shift Hit the Fan. So we call it the shift. And that's something that's come up for people. It's kind of like this fear. And I've had several people call in lately with beliefs around entities and fear and things like that. So what I would like to address here is if you walk into a space where you feel like the predominant energy around you is not the energy of you and is not the energy that you want to move into, there's almost a belief in the consciousness that energy can somehow overpower you or overtake you, or just in general lower you. Like you're putting in, your energy with that energy, and then by the time it gets all shaken up and mixed around, we get the median or we average it out, and our energy goes that much lower. And in truth, what we all want to move into is the consciousness and the knowingness of our own sovereignty and our own divine love and our own divine consciousness, where we walk in, you can't have a light in a dark room and have extra darkness thrown at the light. Like, it just doesn't happen. That light continues to shine wherever it's shining. And so as we move out, I want to actually have everyone on the call invoke the formula around moving out of polarity and what that would show up as. Like I was actually working with someone today, and there were a million different brilliant ways it was showing up in her life, but when we really got down to it, it would be like, I choose good, yet in my model of good only exists because I have bad to bounce it off of. So while I choose good, I'm also bringing along bad in a nice little, suitcase thrown over my shoulder. And what I'm saying is, excuse me, as I clear my throat, chakra. What I'm saying, that was funny. Energy humor, saying throat. Okay. What I'm saying is, if you look at the sort of whiteboard of life, and you've written good and bad on that, and those two things come together, erase those things from that board and just write good. You can literally just make the choice for good. And so that's several of you have commented about the book, and I actually have an email I'm going to get to in a minute where she had some questions from the book, or somebody that was coming in from the web. But that's one of the chapters in there is the perception of polarity, and you can choose to live in that reality where, well, okay, you know, there is good and there is bad, or you can get to the point where you know your own sovereignty enough where, you know, greater things than these shall you do. You move out into that place and peace be still, and the stillness comes. You are the one, you create, you direct, and the more you can remember those things and the more you can own them and the more you can know them in your energy field, the more you become empowered, but you empower yourself to move into that state of conscious creation where you really do start to realize that you have no bounds, you have no limits, and not in a place of abusing any kind of power or doing anything negative, because you're in that state. I'm going to use the words, well, it's not even quite the right way to say it. I was going to say most people would refer to that as a Christ consciousness, but to me that is that space of divine love, that oneness. In that space, the desire to harm another or infringe upon another or take away from another does not exist. And in that space, the desire to change another also doesn't exist, because you realize that no matter what they're doing, it does not affect you. And I know in the physical world, in 3D reality, where a lot of people hang out, that knowingness is not up to par to where they're experiencing that. So what you're actually experiencing is the kind of polarity and the doubt that exists within that belief system. So I would like to invoke the formula there and once again invite all energy to move forward out of polarity. And as we move out of polarity, we move into unity and wholeness and oneness, which brings up in a different kind of way the next thing I wanted to address before we get to the questions, and it was around the balance of balance. And I'm actually being directed to go to this statement now. Some of you who've worked with me before or had your session already know that I kind of, well, like I said on the beginning of this call, as things come up, my healing partner and I, Dee, over the last 10, 12 years, we get together and we compare notes, and as things kind of come up, we write them down, and we kind of keep sheets that we use for referencing. And right now where I'm being told to go around the balance of balance is I am the balance of the frequency of balance. So we're literally being directed to the frequency of balance, to balance what it means to be in balance. And let me tell you how that looks. It looks like a life of maybe working part-time and having lots and lots of stuff going on, kids, having to deal with all of that stuff and not knowing how you're going to add a second job, or not knowing how you're going to juggle whatever you're doing with what you've already got on your plate. And part of what that resistance is, there is a set point in the energy that says this is balance, and if I move out of this, I'm completely overwhelmed and I'm lost. And that's why in the book I actually say, and I don't remember where in there it says it, but it's kind of like if you lose your way, if you get turned upside down, awesome, because then you really get to realize, you get to reorient to your capital self, so that you realize, oh, that was really not an orientation. Well, you start kind of, it feels in some ways like maybe things are spinning a little out of control. Well, they are in relation to where your balance point used to be. If we can balance that balance point, it's kind of like suddenly pulling that balance back to us, and no matter where we move, we are able to be unshaken in the midst of that storm. We are able to roll into wherever we want and take our balance point with us, and if we want to expand in ways that maybe we thought we weren't able to expand in before, we're able to do that, and we're able to push our boundaries and push our limits because we know that no matter where we go, we're balanced. So around all of that, and this should be a pretty big one for everyone on the call, myself included, because this is something I've been walking through as I've been expanding myself. And those of you who've heard maybe from other programs or even in sessions who've asked me some personal questions, there's always expansion going on within all of us. And that's one of the things that I love about working with frequencies and seeing the things that I see and doing the things that I do. You know, I'm certainly not immune. I certainly live well, I live in a world that I create, but I also, we all share that. We overlap to a certain extent. And so I've certainly had my own fair share of things to be able to walk through, which is great because it puts me in a great place to kind of turn around and help people cross that same bridge. So around all of that, if everyone would just focus and allow this to be the invocation, I am the balance of the frequency of masculine, feminine, and child, which is basically all energy coming together to play in a balanced way. I am the frequency of that balance. I am the balance of balance within the radiation of my light, within the electromagnetic whole of the whole, which is kind of the electromagnetic field. It's the way the brain communicates. It's the way neurons fire, all of those things in the brain. But the brain is also a processing center for all of the energy. I know lots of people think that we live in the brain. Well, we don't. We live all over the place. But the brain is a wonderful receptive tool, and so that balances the electromagnetic, all of our bodies, so that we can communicate with ourselves and be more one with ourselves. I invoke the rays, flames, and lights. I am whole. I accept my power in all energy and all dimensions. I accept that I am the creation of all creation, which is money, health, love, all of those things. And that's going to be a big spot for some of you that are calling about health stuff, is acknowledging that you are the creation of that creation. And there's a part of your mind that separates and says, well, obviously, and I've been there. I mean, obviously laid up when I had stuff going on, I didn't create this. This is not what's going on. And from the bigger soul perspective, if you can tap into that place where you know everything is okay, where you know what's going on, then it's kind of like, oh, okay, I kind of do see what's going on, and okay, this is maybe an exit plan, maybe this is not, maybe this is something else going on, maybe I'm being told to take it easier, maybe this is something coming up into my life so I can make peace with certain people, or so that I can finally shift some things in my life that I've not been shifting, and we're going to get into that as well. So around all of that, and the genetic acceptance that I am that creation, and literally directing the cells to open up and allow that light in, I am divine love. And where I want to go, we're going to, hold on, they're showing me something different. I started to say we're going to the pituitary and pineal, but we're not. We're going to the crown chakras. So I want everybody to direct their chakras to open up. And I guess we're specifically claiming balance around the crown chakra. We'll probably get some discernment around this on the call, but that would be a place where we can let in more light. And actually, what they're showing me is literally opening kind of the collective crown chakra, the collective consciousness chakra. If you think of all energy as kind of a collective body, we can literally open that space up in consciousness and allow this higher vibrating light, allow this new existence, allow this energy to pour through and start to transmute. And somebody asked in the web section earlier, what is our role in that? Can we just, I'm a busy mom of two, can I just go around knowing and trusting and having faith that the shift is occurring and continue to put my energy towards it? Is that enough? And I thought I was going to answer a different way, and then what came up was, yeah, that is enough, because that's what you're focused on. That's what you're allowing, and you're doing it in kind of a beautiful way that bridges where you've been with where you're going and allows you to walk into that new space. We're focused on that energy. We know we are that energy. And so in many cases, as I kind of tap the bigger group with that, we're focused on where we're going and we can see it, but yet we still feel like we're in transit. And so my goal is by the end of this call to hopefully, with at least 90% of the energy, hopefully 100% of that energy, bring us all forward to where we know that we have arrived. So around all of that, I invoke the rays, flames, and lights. I am divine love. I invoke the formula for that. And right as I go into the formula, what comes up is the creating trust in all of the energy, allowing all of the energy to trust. It's kind of like, well, if we're building this human chain across this great chasm, how do I know that as soon as somebody else gets there, they won't sort of walk off and leave me? Or how do I know I can trust the hand coming forward to pull me up? And the answer to that is knowing that that hand is really being offered by you. It's knowing that there's no separation. It's looking across the aisle and seeing you instead of someone else, or seeing the enemy, or seeing the friend. You're looking across that space and you're seeing yourself, and you're inviting yourself in, and actually doing that just pulled about 80% of that energy across. So that's pretty big, you guys. That was the last thing on the list, was shifting balance. As we move into that new space, just remember to be consciously aware of letting go of that old balance point. I can share with you, well, even just from like my own story, I think I told it on most of the calls, so you all will have an idea. One of the shifting balance points I had to let go of from, having sort of crippling anxiety for so many years was, oh, now I can actually do things. Now I can go out. But it's kind of like testing the water. At first you kind of, okay, I'm going to go, get in my car and see if I can make it 5 minutes away, and then see if I can make it 10 minutes, and then 15 minutes, and then suddenly, you're on a cross-country road trip. Well, you've got to allow that balance to shift so that you no longer think of that as the exception to the rule, that now becomes the rule. That exceptionalism becomes the rule. That's how I want to say that. So around all of that, I invoke the formula. And that is as much as I wanted to say around that, and I'm sure other things are going to come up. So I'm going to now, if I can figure out how to get back over here, I'm going to go to the calls. So again, star 2 if you have a question. And I'm going to start with Susan in San Rafael. I'm going to unmute you, and you have been holding for quite a while. So Susan, let's see. Well, I thought I was going to unmute you. Yes. Susan, there you are.
Hi, thank you.
You're welcome. We're actually going to start there because as soon as I did that, I got like the the hands over the mouth, like don't say anything. So for anyone on the call and for us and Susan, me and you, because I had that little throat thing happen earlier, around really being able to speak our truth and not be afraid to be heard, that actually has to do with what we talked about at the very beginning of the call around moving forward into sovereignty and moving into a place where we don't feel like, where we might feel that there is an energy that opposes us, where we can move into that space and speak our truth and watch that lower vibration scatter and transmute and raise. So around all of that, I want to invoke the formula. And then that'll probably tie in, Susan, but what's going on with you tonight?
I would like to clear some really, really old stuff, like from the beginning, conception, womb, and childhood, where it was just an extremely terrifying environment where I could not really live, and a lot of fear of being killed. I'm not safe.
Yeah, a lot of that. So part of that is what we just talked about right before that, about that being able to stand up in your power and speak your truth and know that you were safe.
I just tried to do this. I just tried to do this with my friend last night, and I ran adrenaline, and I'm still recovering, and it's like hell.
You ran a what?
I ran adrenaline, which for me is hell because I have a very, very deep level of PTSD.
Oh, okay. I don't know what the Dremel is. What is that?
Adrenaline.
Oh, adrenaline. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, I gotcha. Well, I want to go beyond the PTSD. The thing that I'm seeing is kind of like a marionette, and the strings. When I first tuned in, I immediately got mom and dad, but it goes actually beyond that. I know you said conception, but I go back to there's a place in your energy, and this isn't a real place. So this is going to be interesting just for everybody to hear. This part that goes back, there's a part of your energy that has now projected that story onto what the origin of you at the deeper level is, like at the soul level, that it must not be safe, God must not be safe, the universe must not be safe. When in actuality, it looks like it starts to actually affect your physical field around the time you started choosing where you were going to come. This may get a little woo-woo real fast for some of you, but around the time that you started to come into physical embodiment, around the time you kind of started marinating in the stew of what I would call your biological parents,
right,
and whatever system they were in, because that looks like super junky. So what I would do with those marionette strings is it's almost like, see, the vision I get is almost like a ninja star coming across the room and literally just cutting all of those cords. And it's able to cut through a few of those. It stops at mom and like bounces back to the floor. So why are you still holding on with mom? What are you getting out of that? Do you know? Well, how does she relate back into what we talked about speaking the truth? Because the thing that they just showed me was almost somebody getting like stomped in the throat, like kicked in the throat chakra.
Yeah. Okay, the gal who triggered me last night is the exact same mom issue. Deception. A lot of I've experienced.
Yeah. What comes up is not being able to see it clearly. So there's the guilt and kind of the mistrust, but that all arises from the belief that you don't see clearly and that what you're seeing you don't trust. So there's something actually behind that, and I know you've probably heard me do this before, and some of you are probably praying I don't do it to you, but give me a song if you don't mind. The first song that comes into your mind, we'll go subliminal, subconscious.
Help by the Beatles.
Okay, by the Beatles. Yeah, no, it's really interesting. I do about 20, 25 sessions a day, and that song today came up. I counted 23 times.
Really? Oh my God.
Yeah, so there is a lot of that in the energy, and part of that goes back to what I talked about at the very beginning of this call. About knowing that you are sovereign, because when you can get to that place of knowing you're sovereign, you know that you don't need help, but immediately your energy like dissipates around sovereignty. So I want to dive in and find out why you cannot own your power. We're going here. It's genetic. They're literally kind of going to all of the genetic subjects. So the biggest thing I could do there right now looks like faith and spirituality. So it's the faith in basically the shit that's going to hit the fan. It's the faith in the negative. It's the faith in the sabotage. It's the faith that however you move forward, it's really going to wind up with you being knocked back on your ass. When I say there's anything else in the genetic subjects, no. Life subjects, it would be happiness, which to me kind of incorporates every single subject. But the biggest one that comes up is loving myself. And what that looks like is when I love myself, I'm not enough. So there's a part of you that tries to not love yourself so that you can be enough, but without loving yourself, you can never get there. So in that regard, Well, that's the biggest core belief that piles up on that, is I can never get there. And there is literally the place of God, oneness, unity, joy, happiness, love, creating what you want. Then it plugs into some parent stuff, and there's like, you don't have time for me. And then it's almost like I don't even think I'd want them to have time for you, because that still just looks like a not good place. So I want you to invoke the formula around all of that. And then what comes up, you to you, it's saying, even though I love you, I'm threatened by you, and so I have to get rid of you. And what that is around is, I love my authentic self, and I know it's probably really, really nice and sweet, but part of me is threatened by it because I don't understand it and I don't get it, and it's let me down before. So get out. I don't want to accept you. So around accepting the light of who I am, around accepting the light of you, invoke the formula there, and I want you to invoke divine love. And I want you to picture that golden light. And as we've talked about, I've done this meditation on several of the calls, but picture this kind of warm, gooey light start to pour down through your crown chakra. With you, it actually, like, you try to roll it off of the top of your head so it can just kind of come down the back, so you can maybe feel what it would feel like to have a little support. But I actually want it to come down into you, and there's that place that kind of doesn't want anything else, and I'm sorry for the graphic use of the word, but penetrating you, because it looks like that's been done so many times in such violating ways that you just can't have that. And so what's the highest thing we can get to around that?
I've been practicing your golden light abundance meditation every morning, so I can do this.
Yeah, you can. Move into knowing on all sheets, which basically what that means is this is your opportunity, this is your chance to come forward for you and connect with that higher self, connect with that creative force, whatever you define it as. Connecting, oh no, I'm sorry, I'm being corrected, not what you've defined it as, but actually what it is, which is the love and the joy and the totality, as opposed to the thing that you're threatened by, which is the thing that's let you down in the past, which hasn't been there for you, which has sabotaged your creation. So what I want you to do is invoke your authentic divine self. Because what shows up is the real you and the you that part of your fear energy has created in you. So I want now to, I'm going to kind of move in. Do I have permission to come in and do some work?
Sure.
I'm going to cut that out. You're like, why not? We're going to throw up a little mirror there so that energy dissipates, because there's really nothing to reflect back because it's just you. So we're going to unplug, and I invite everyone on the call right now. Stay with me, guys. I want everybody to walk through this, because this is something I've had to do with a couple people today as well. Anyone that you've ever mixed energy with, in all space, in all time. Right now I want you to almost see like, it's like we'll go back to where maybe the color that's coming from other people is blue and the color going out from you is red, so that you can clearly see it. I want you to separate those energies so that you now see all of the energy coming towards you is not you, and all of the energy going from you is going someplace else. So I want to separate those energies and sort of give back the energy that you've taken on, and take back any of your power that you may have given away. And then anybody that is plugged into you, and again, through all time and space, and this will go for anybody that says or thinks they have a past life issue or anything that's going on in that regard, anything that you may be plugged into or that may be plugged into you, I want you all, on the count of three, I'm going to count to three, I want everybody to unplug and give the direction that anything that's plugged into you is now unplugged, and give the direction to all of your energy to unplug from that stuff. And there's a few of you that are saying I can't, and I just want you to give the direction anyway. 1, 2, 3. Unplug. I am divine love, and so it is. Now, we're not going to a song, but we are going back to that balance statement, which is, that's how I know to go there if I hear song and nothing shows up. So it's, I am the balance of the frequency of masculine, feminine, and child, and I hear stop. So there is still a wound in you carrying from the family stuff that it's time to let go of. But not just let go of, because what it looks like in your energy field when you let go of something, you just kind of set it aside, but it's still in the same room with you. And the picture I'm seeing is like if a dog, used the restroom on the floor, this definition, you would clean it up by basically just putting a piece of paper over it, or by picking it up and putting it, next to a chair where it's just not in front of you, but it's still in the room and it still smells. So we want to go ahead and get that stinky poo out of your life. So invoke the formula there. And now mom goes. I was like, why are we seeing mom? Because that's where the star hit the floor a minute ago. So now I want to go back through and cut any of those other cords. You just gave me chills down my back. So that means you separated from that energy. And I've got to move on, but I want to do one more thing from you, which is, okay, we're going to all energy in all dimensions. We're claiming all positives on the initial transformation sheet, which is this sheet. So everyone on the call, we're doing this for you as well, because this is all actually really huge stuff. So we're going to start with our ionospheres, which is the place in our energy what I just talked about, this is actually great because what I just talked about was like setting that poo to the side. Well, the ionosphere is kind of the thing in our energy where we sometimes place stuff. It's just far enough out of our sight where we don't see it, but it's still there and it's close enough where it still kind of funks up it puts like a weird funkiness into our energy field. So we're going to clean the ionosphere. And in a place of no polarity, literally, we can just erase the things that we don't want. We don't lose the things that we want by doing that, and that's part of what keeps people tied to polarity. They think that if they get rid of the bad, maybe the good that comes with it will go away. Or if they get rid of the good, the bad will go away, and then they won't know that it's good anymore, and then it'll all level out, and there's no charge, there's no rise from that energy anymore. So in the ionosphere and beyond, invoke the formula around all of that. I am the creation of me, my world, my universe, my body, my thoughts, etc. I am the balance of the frequency of masculine, feminine, and child, and I am the balance of the frequency of balance around all of that energy coming together as one. Actually, we don't even have to go any further. That was the last thing that you needed, was the balance of that energy coming together as one. So around all of that, for everyone on the call, we're invoking the formula. We're moving on through that. And Susan, thank you so much for calling. I really appreciate it. I don't know if everybody can already start to feel that. I got sort of big-time chills just from that separation energy. So that tells me that we're going to do some stuff there as well. So we're going to do one more call, and then I'm going to go to the Q&A on the web again. And I have Kim it's Xiong in Middletown, Delaware.
Hello.
Hello. Did I say your name completely wrong?
Yeah, it's my husband name.
I thought, okay. What's going on with you tonight?
Well, my job situation is not clear, and
what's going on? You said you were using your husband, but I want to actually go over to your husband. What's going on work-wise with your husband?
Oh, that's interesting. My husband doesn't like his job either.
Okay, so this is we're still going to work something out here. But what I pick up immediately is your job situation is the way it is, so that you can kind of put the responsibility onto him, but now he doesn't like it either, so it's going to create distress in the relationship because it feels like on some level both of you are kind of going, well, you do it. Well, I'm doing it. Why aren't you doing it? I thought we were both going to do it, and neither one of you really want to do it. So around that, yeah, you get it. So around, this is actually really going to be easy. So around loving yourself enough to do what you want to do, and loving him enough to allow him to do what he wants to do while knowing you can both be safe, protected, and abundant, because that's where it falls out. There's a little part of that energy that says, wait, if we separate and like we do what we want to do while still being together, what does that mean? Like, how does that, well, it kind of changes everything. So then that's where I was talking about having to shift your balance point. So I want you to invoke the formula around all of that. And I get that's it around the job situation.
Really, I got the job interview 3 weeks ago, and I was so confident that I would get it, and I supposed to get the result by today. I supposed to hear from them, but I didn't even know that yet.
Well, I think in part of that you, well, there's still, okay, when I say you really want that job, I get a no, so we got to be honest about that.
I thought I really wanted.
When I say you think you want the job, I get a big yes. So what we want to do there is line yourself up with yourself. So this is taking what we just did a minute ago one step further with everyone, and so everyone do this for yourself as well as I go. So as you invoke your divine self, as you invoke that authentic self, I want you to direct your horror line to be straight, strong, and through the ID point. Now, the horror line, there's lots of different ways, lots of different people describe it, but the best and simplest way to describe it is almost like it's kind of the connection, the sort of, if you were to pull like a rod or a string or a line up through all of your chakras, it's the connector through all of that. And where it connects at the top, it's kind of the ID point. And what the ID point would be in this instance is it kind of connects into the symphony. It's kind of like the wire plugging into the speaker. And once that's plugged in, all of that sound can pour down and you can hear the notes that you're wanting to hear. So as we talk about that with relation to the formula, your horror line right now looks like it veers off at about a 35-degree angle to where you're at, and you actually want that to plug straight in above you. So you've actually shifted enough energy and moved enough that you're still trying to plug into an old definition of yourself. And so now there's still a little bit of fear around what it's going to mean if you unplug from that old definition. And we're going to Mom, and then give me a movie title.
Movie title?
Yeah.
No string attached.
Okay, so that's great. I love it. So it's time to tell Mom to get out of your energy, and it's time to allow you to move into being the person you want to be. And it's interesting. I would have thought it would have been more of your husband that the string was attached to, but it wasn't. So that was great. So invoke the formula there. There it goes. Your horror line popped right in.
Okay.
So I want to say this lovingly. If it's the job for you and you want the job and that's what you want to create, and I get now you do want it, and before I get you really didn't. So now, now this job may be more of a resonance with you, and if not that, something better because you're in that space. So that's where you just want to hold your focus, is just loving yourself enough to do exactly what it is you want to do, and loving your husband enough to let him do what he wants to do. And it looks like we're going to invoke the formula on his behalf too, because his energy is here and wants to play, even though he may not know it. So we're going to invoke the formula there. Yeah. All right,
so
my dear.
That's why my husband and I have a little bit off relationship. We are together, but I don't feel like we're together.
Yeah, well, that's why you laughed, and that's why I said you got it at the beginning, because when I said let yourself be separated and stay, but try to be together, there's a little bit of that place where the energy is just kind of gone, I can't do this with you, and the other energy is going, I can't do this with you, and it's going, but I don't want to do it alone. Well, I don't either. Well, how do we? And so that just creates that back and forth. So around knowing that you guys can both be authentic and you can both be autonomous and you can both also be in a loving relationship with each other, because I do see on that deeper level below kind of the junk there that it does look like there's a lot of love there. So just cut yourself a little bit of slack. That's the best thing I can tell. Yeah,
okay.
But everything actually feels pretty good.
Oh, okay. But I have to tell you one thing, that I got session with you last week, and I have a problem with my boss.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting this being a week, and my husband, I feel like my boss is really trying to talk to me, but it's me trying to not to talk to him because I'm kind of upset with him.
Yeah, it's interesting. I remember this. Was this because did you email me and tell me that we did work around that, and suddenly he was nice to you for the first time?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of that that just says. In other words, your balance point shifted. That's great. I'm glad that you brought that forward, because that gives everybody an opportunity. I'll kind of fill them in. In the session, we just basically worked around, you thought your boss was kind of a jerk. And we did some work, and then you sent me an email, I think the next day, and said, oh, my gosh, my boss has been so nice to me. I don't know what we did, but, this is amazing. So that was your balance point trying to shift. But that was you resisting him being nice. And there's a part of you going, no, wait a minute, you're a jerk. That's how I relate to you, is as a jerk. So you need to stay a jerk. And I don't want you to be nice to me now, because that means that I have to start changing the way I interface. It comes across as interference, but as the way I interface with you. And so that, yes, you're exactly right. That is actually a good call. That is actually you not wanting to receive and be received by him and receive him in that way.
So I define him as a jerk. So
so when he shows up as different, your energy almost gets mad at him, going, "What? Wait a minute! No, wait! You're supposed to be a jerk. Stop making me change the way I believe things."
So
and I'm actually hearing that balance point will plug you in with your husband too. If you've got to be willing to let people change their stories, and then you've got to be willing to change your story of how you view them. And I hope everybody on the call just listened to that, because that's a very important thing.
Oh, okay. Now I got it.
Awesome. Thank you, my dear. I appreciate you calling.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, that was actually really big. So that just goes back. That's one more, as you can see, like already there. That's twice that has come up. But it's all about allowing your balance point to shift. So that's beautiful. I want to go over, I said I would go to the webcast and check out a Q&A. So do you see duality of so-called good, bad, right, wrong dissolving into more loving choices by greater numbers? And if so, any idea how that could happen? And that was from Sophia in Heber City. And yes, Sophia, I do see that happening. I see duality beginning to dissolve, and I think what we saw, I'm kind of going to go to the banks and like 4 years ago, because that's where I just got nudged to go. So I think what we saw there was the desire for duality to start slipping away, and in order to allow it to slip away, enough people held the belief, well, I have to see it, I have to process it. And I think in the last several months, consciousness has gone, you know what, I'm starting to learn that I don't have to process. I'm learning that we don't have to do it that way, that we can just, it's like I can just build the house I want. I don't have to toil and labor over the same foundation for 10 years. So where am I going with that? I was going with dissolving duality. And so as that duality has come up, more people, in a way, a lot of duality in a way has been very in our face lately. And I really see it kind of beginning to stop being so in our face as this year comes to a close. And by 2013, is it still around a little bit? Yeah. Is it to the extent that it's been? No. What has been going on with people that I've been seeing so much in 2012 is that duality is so up in the face, but it's so up in their faces because they're asking at that deeper level to really take a deep, deep look at themselves and then consciously choose. And yes, can people choose to consciously go unconscious and plug back into the grid or make a decision that is not in line with who they truly are and who their authentic nature is? Absolutely. I mean, can people choose, greed over, love? Absolutely, they can. But what's coming up is the vast difference between those vibrations, and it's showing up as, oh my gosh, this thing that I used to allow myself to get away with, I'm doing it still, and it feels horrible. Well, it feels horrible because at that deeper level, you're going to yourself, hey, quit it. Quit it. Stop being a jerk. Start choosing something that works for you. Start choosing something that works for you and that works for everyone. Start choosing something that works for the collective. It's that part that's starting to get in touch with all of that energy. So that was actually a really good question. And so, yes, I do see that blending in. That's actually what I was talking about at the beginning of the call around polarities dissipating and starting to move through all of that. So good question. I appreciate it. And then I've got a cell phone in Herndon, Virginia, 703 area code. First three numbers are 994. And if that sounds like you, yes, I hear you.
Hello?
Yes, there you are.
Hi.
Hey, who is this?
This is Becky.
Hey, Becky, how are you?
I'm good. I've been working on the core beliefs because I think there's a lot of stuff from my childhood. I had abuse from my father, and lately I feel like there's just more and more, and I don't know how to.
No, I love that you said that. I'm glad I didn't cut you off until you said that. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Period. But I was excited that you said that because as soon as you said core belief, I went to the core belief that there has to be lots and lots of core beliefs. So as you start cleaning them up, it's almost like pick up one, drop three. Pick up one, drop another three. So there's this spider tree that keeps forming of more core beliefs, more core beliefs, more core beliefs. Now, when I actually float into that energy, it's kind of like it just starts to dissipate because there's not really core beliefs there, but it's that place in your energy that keeps trying to put stuff to fix. And the overall thing there is just that you're wrong. I'm not saying that to you. I'm saying that's the overall belief. There's something in there that just goes, you're wrong. So whatever it is you want to do, you're wrong. So we need to just continue to break everything so you keep having to pick up pieces and fix it. And by the way, you can never get fixed because you're wrong. So around all of that, that's a very large thing to shift. And I myself used to have something kind of similar, so I can identify. We're going to invoke the formula there. We're going back to mom, but then that bounces from dad back to mom. So it shows me that there's some blame in some places that in your energy field, you're now ready to retake your responsibility and now kind of let that energy go. So around that, as soon as I said that, I saw it start to dissipate. So invoke the formula there. And then I kind of moved to like extended family, which is a different kind of energy. So around, that's like a weird, what's going on? What's the story with your extended family? There's like a weird energy like all around.
Well, my dad's side of the family, it was very broken. I didn't really have a lot of contact with them. My mom's side, I guess we were close with them, but I always felt I wasn't good enough around them.
Yeah, no, it's more your dad's side. This is more about, I don't know why, and I don't want to weird anyone out around like things that you have to take on, but it looks like where most people would just kind of take on genetic stuff like from mom or dad. You kind of absorbed, I don't know if you necessarily would consider yourself an empath, but you have definitely absorbed kind of the collective garbage of your family, and it's kind of just sitting there. And I think you're ready to take it out. Yeah, you're ready to take it out. Let's invoke the formula around that. And then give me a song if you don't mind, because there's still some stuff spinning around you, and I want to know what it is.
Over the Rainbow?
Okay, so, well, we're going to the stuff being over there and not in you, and so there's a part of your energy field. You've literally displaced yourself from your own energy so that you can kind of, it's like, well, this is an interesting, sorry, the visual keeps changing, so that's why I keep going, what? There's nothing wrong with you. What I kind of see is first of all, I see like flies and stinky, so that's why I used that trash metaphor a minute ago, but it's still there. It's kind of like you get taken out with the trash, like throwing the baby out with the bathwater, and then looking out at the real you somewhere out there in fairyland over the rainbow and going, oh, that's so nice. I'll never get there, but it looks so warm and cuddly and nice over there. So that tells me that there's separation, but there's also a belief that that separation can never be unified and undone. So we're going to a core belief. Let me pull this up so that I can find out what this is. And I'm hearing that this works for everyone as well. Well, it's the ionosphere and beyond, and the core belief is I'm stuck. So for any of you, I just saw a couple questions come in on the webcast about feeling stuck. So we're moving to the ionosphere and clearing out any of that stuck energy. And what I immediately come into contact with is energy that goes, no, I can't move. And it's like, well, just move. No, I can't. Well, why not? Well, I don't know. So what I want everybody to do right now is give the direction to their energy to unstick. I know that sounds really, really simple, but that just unstuck 99% of you. So invoke the formula there. And then, Becky, would you mind giving me one more song? And this is for the 1% that didn't move. Oh, you're off the hook. Yeah, you're off the hook. I went to the space. So around allowing that energy to see a way to get unstuck and start to experience a new experience of itself, I am the balance of the frequency of masculine, feminine, and child within the radiation of my light, and I am the balance of the frequency of the knowing that I am that light. There it went. All right, cool. That energy in you left. All right, so talk to me then about what's going on. It looks like relationship and career are kind of both showing up. So what's going on?
Yeah, I'm having problems in both.
Okay.
Well, I have a son, and I'm having a lot of problems with my ex-husband, and so I had to move back from Los Angeles, and I had to give up my job, and so now I kind of have a couple part-time jobs, but nothing.
Okay, I already got it again. So there's a part in your energy that goes, I have to give myself up. Well, it's I have to give myself up to take care of myself. Usually it's I have to give myself up to take care of someone else, but this is the part of you, and I don't mean like the part of you that defines your son as your energy. It's none of that. It's literally a part in your energy that says, I have to give myself up to take care of myself. And in doing that, anything that you do, no matter how quickly you get there, this is kind of the next step up from that broken and always dropping more core beliefs thing, is that whatever you have to do to take care of yourself when you get there, you've got to kind of sabotage it and give it up because you don't belong. Belonging is the next phase of that, so invoke the formula. And guys, I know some of you are going, take my call, because I see the hands keep going up. And as we do this for everyone, this is energy that we all have. Look in your life and see where maybe you don't belong, and where, even if that's I don't belong in the health, I don't belong in money. I mean, that sounds really simple, but these are actual beliefs that are sticking up in the field right now. And as we're doing this with Becky, she's so lovingly coming forward to show us places in all of us that we can start to wipe clean and start to transmute that energy. So for everyone on the call, let's all drop into our heart and let's invoke. Well, what I just saw was that golden light kind of pour down to fill all of the space between us and uniting us, and then invoking the formula now so that we all know that we belong wherever it is we want to belong. And then on top of that, what comes in, Becky, is not wanting to know that you belong or feeling guilty about belonging when other people don't know that they belong. And that shows up as family stuff. So it's kind of like, well, why should I be doing this well, or is it okay to do this well when this conflicts with my ex, or this conflicts with other people in my family? So I want to invoke the formula there, and it looks like consciously you're aware of that, but energetically there's a little bit of that holdback. And then I'm going to go here for you, but there's other people on the call that will benefit from this, because this is the visual I got, and this is the second time today this has come up. So that tells me that within consciousness there's some stuck feelings. It's almost like somebody rubber banded to like a pole, and I want to just create enough space so that we can take, a sword almost like, and just slice all the way down and cut all of those ties. And the last place I hit is the foot, and it's almost like a metal tie, and that goes right back to Dad, and it looks like Dad's got a grip on the foot, which is all about stepping into your own power and moving forward. So talk to me a little bit about Dad.
He was really abusive, all kinds of abuse, and I stopped communicating with him when I was 14, but yeah.
I don't need any more of that. What just came up for your energy was for you to claim permission to take back your own power. And literally there's a part in you that kind of wants to like stomp that hand that's got it on the foot, and it feels bad about wanting to do that, so instead it's just kind of leaving it there. But know that it's okay for you to come forward in your power, and if coming forward in your power looks like sort of, kicking his hand away, kick it away, because he doesn't belong in your energy field. Now now that you can get empowered that way, that actually looks like it lets some anger into your field, which is good. I wanted that to come in so that now we can heal it. So what I want you to do now is, again, claim permission, because there's a part of you that doesn't know that you have permission to access your whole energy field. It almost feels bad about stepping into power. And then part of that is, well, if I step into my power and if it's that easy, why did I torture myself for all those years? And that's kind of the place that the mind goes, but all those years you didn't know and you weren't ready, and now you are. And so allow that story to have at least served you in that now you're able to step into it. And I get that you're able and ready and willing. So invoke the formula there. And then, guys, when I hear things, I do it until it's finished. So please, if I spend 5 minutes with one person and 2 on another, don't think that's any kind of judgment or favoritism or anything like that. I'm just going where the energy is telling me to clean for the whole group. So Becky, give me one more song, because we're not quite finished.
Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star.
Okay, so part of it goes, how I wonder what you are. And this goes back to that energy of somewhere over the rainbow. So around knowing that that is you, and then around allowing the experience of yourself in all of that divine glory to actually come in. And I got like super, almost, it was like a hiccup that wouldn't hiccup, but like for 5 seconds just sat there. So that was like really powerful, moving some things around the solar plexus. Would be where that shows up for a lot of you and a few of you in the throat chakra, around clearing that connection so that you can feel and know what it's like to be you in all of your power. And now I get we're done. So thank you, Becky. I appreciate that. And thank you for being so honest and forthcoming.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask you one question about, you said I wasn't ready to let go of something with my mom and my dad?
No, you are now.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, well, but that's where I'm glad that's another place that'll serve everyone else that was listening. So take those places and any of those places of doubt, and even if something I say plugs one of you guys in, just know that that's an opportunity to go, well, that may be how it was directed, and now I'm directing it this way. So know that you can always direct your light how you want. But yeah, Becky, when you weren't ready when we started, and then now you are ready. So you've already done it when I say there's any connection, and there's not. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gotten you off the phone.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Very welcome, dear. Have a great night. So next up, we're going to go to Gresham, Oregon, and it looks like Regina. Is that right?
Yes.
Hey, how are you, dear?
Do you hear me?
I can hear you just fine, yeah.
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
Well, I have 2 issues. One's fertility, and the other one is I have this weird feeling like every time I think of getting rid of our dad. So, like, if I think about, me with millions of dollars, all of a sudden it's like I'm thinking consciously of manifesting it, but then it's like, oh, no, like I'm self-sabotaging myself. Like, I can't have financial freedom.
We're going to start with fertility, because that's creation. So we're going to start with all of the stories about why creation is maybe bad and you're not allowed to do it. And I go back to, like, you may not remember, you may, but I go back to around 3, and it looks like mom, but it might actually be grandma, because it just looks like one of those stop it moments where you kind of just took that in and you were like, oh, okay, and then you just kept that direction of stop it. So creation for you is almost like getting in trouble. So we're going to invoke the formula around that. And there's also a place where you don't want to create, because it's almost like I'll use the analogy of childbirth. It's kind of like, what am I bringing a child into this place for? Because part of me thinks this place is horrible. So it's around.
Oh, no.
Right. So it's around releasing judgment. That's going to be a big part of it. That's actually going to be a very large part of it. And I just felt that all through my stomach area. So I want to invoke the formula around that. And again, for everyone on the call, releasing judgment is huge. So because you can't really create in a place that you're judging. Because no matter what you're doing, there's just that kind of creates, I don't know why that word is coming up, but violation. It creates a violation in the energy. So you don't have that clear vibration, that clear frequency. So invoke the formula around releasing that judgment. And I'm just going to ask you consciously, who are you judging? Regina, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Are you thinking? Who are you consciously judging right now, like in your life?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm really not sure.
If
Maybe
I were
myself?
That's what I thought, but no. What comes up is there's almost like a them. It's a them energy. And so that just, okay, now I'm seeing where that plays in. So there's a part, I went to them, and then what came up was they, and a they is an I that hasn't taken full responsibility for itself. So it's not so much the judgment, it's a place in you that is going, okay, that's not my fault, or that is my fault, or I don't want to look at that, or this person did this over here. So it's a little continuation of judgment, but we're just going to expand on that so that we invite all of the energy in you back into you. And then when I go into the money part, well, let's invoke the formula there first because we need to get rid of the judgment before we go to the money because that's what's holding up the money the most. So what's your story about money? Give me a song.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Okay. I love you. Near, far, in our chitty car. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang loves us too. When I say you love money, yes. When I say money loves you, no. And that's actually, as silly as that sounds, that's where we're going. Yeah, that's where we're going. So I want you to invoke the formula around knowing that money loves you. Then they're showing me separation. So money is just energy, guys. Everything is energy. Health is energy. Money is energy. Everything is energy. So what then comes up is, yeah, but it's got to be some kind of balance. And what shows up in balance, and this is actually something I talked about at the beginning, so we're going to do that again, but it's around balance being, well, okay, fourth of the pie is really good and half of the pie is just okay and a fourth of the pie is horrible. That's balance for some people. That's not balance. Balance is actually 100% awesomeness all the time. That's balance. And when I say that's balance for you, I get a no. And when I ask why, it's like, that's not fair. So whoever that's not fair to, we can all join in hands and tell that person to take a hike, or those people or that energy and transmute it. It's not fair. Okay, then what comes up in the consciousness is it's not fair because there's energy out there that doesn't know it's worth it and doesn't know it's energy and doesn't know it's okay. So that's the part of us that says, you know what, hold yourself back because it's not okay for you to go and play in that sandbox when other people are grounded because they didn't do their homework or whatever. To use a silly kid metaphor. Not that I'm grounding any kids tonight, but it's just about knowing that you can go freely play and you don't have to worry and you're not responsible. There's a little bit of your energy that's like, but who am I leaving behind? So consciously, do you know who you're leaving behind?
Would it be my husband?
Yeah, it would be your husband. Ding, ding, ding. So what I want you to do is, and when I say cord and like cut the cord, I don't mean that anything has to separate, anything has to leave. The stuff that has to leave is the stuff that keeps you in bondage, because true freedom is being able to choose your choice because you love that person or you love yourself so much that that is the choice you resonate with. And it's the freedom to choose and have that choice continually made out of nothing but love. So around all of that like shifted a ton. So invoke the formula there. I see your energy like,
yeah, thank you.
There's nothing else around money, but there is something up around health, and it's not around the creation stuff. What else is going on?
I have a flickering right eye for the last month.
Okay, that's what it, okay, so part of that is, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know why potassium just came up, but then
I have potassium problems.
Okay, well, okay. Never mind, it came up because I'm just reading your energy. I was like, I'm not saying that. I'm not a doctor, but okay, potassium. So what I want everybody to do right now is just give the direction to balance I don't know why it's coming up female hormones, but again, it is. Balance the female hormones in your body. And then now I'm going to all hormones, and around all hormones being allowed to level out at the level that is most beneficial to you in wholeness and completeness, not disharmony and disease.
Okay.
That's really weird about the potassium. I don't usually get that specific, so that's awesome.
Well, because it has a lot to do with, because it puts me out quite a bit sometimes.
No, I understand. So I literally get that's just about balancing your hormones, and then that's it, my dear. We're complete here.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Now we're going to go, let me take one more question off of the webcast I'm trying to do. Let's see what comes up. Let's see. Okay, we've got Debbie from Long Island. I haven't read these, so if this gets weird in the middle, Debbie, it's your fault. Hey, Jarrad, I'd like your assist, please. I feel more at peace than ever and grateful for this as well. However, I feel that I have a block somewhere that's impeding my connecting to my spiritual team. I must be connected because I do have flow in my life. Would you take a look at my energy field, please? Much love. Absolutely, Debbie. So, feel more at peace, yes. Actually more at peace? No. So there's a weird illusion going on here, and it's a separation, which you set a block. When I say there's a block, I get a no. When I say there's a separation, I get a yes. And then what they've showed me is the word miasm, which is just what that's kind of my cue in to know that there's separation somewhere within yourself. This is what most people would consider an inner child is where we're going here. But interestingly enough, it looks like a little boy. So that's kind of, I'm not quite sure what to do with that. Well, so we're going to go to that statement around masculine and feminine, but then they're telling me to stop. We're going here first. Well, it's the same statement. Okay, so so it's like the flip side. I don't know what that means. So I am the balance of the frequency of masculine, feminine, and child. within the radiation of my light. Oh, it's the radiation of your light. That's where we're going. So your light is radiating out, but it's not coming back to you. So it's kind of like your radiation is going out to the universe, and this is just the example I'm using, but this is kind of the way that you were talking about the flow, but there's still like a block there. It's only going one way, and then 100% goes out, and maybe 1% is returning back. I want to know why, and they're showing me a clock. And then in the book, when I talk about clocks, that lets me know that it's about you outside of time and space. So literally right now, give the invocation to focus on yourself. For you outside of existence, outside of this existence, to focus on you, and then give the direction, and everybody else on the call, I'm doing this, so you might want to do it as well. Give the invocation for all of your energy to come forward for you, unite and integrate under your command and under your direction. And then I'm going to a song, and I'm going to Mrs. Robinson, and then what that takes me to is Jesus loves me more than you will know. So, Debbie, around knowing that you can do this, and around knowing that Jesus loves you more than you will know, and that the universe, that God, that creation loves you more than you will know, well, now I'm being told invoke the formula so that you can actually have the experience of knowing what it feels like to actually be loved like that. Holy smokies, that's some serious love. I just got I'll call them love chills. That's amazing. When I say there's anything else around that, I get a no. However, this is not for Debbie. So whoever didn't want to ask this question, it's popping up around wanting the highest answer and around knowing it is okay to be your highest answer. But then what comes up is not the bullshitty place, sorry for my language, but not the place that's, full of it, but from that authentic, loving place. And it looks like there are a few of you on the call that are in conflict with that place. So we're going to invoke the formula there. And this actually may go to, this will go to something that we'll hit in just a minute. So now I'm going to go back to the live calls, and I'm going to go to Carol in Hartford. Carol, can you hear me? Well, maybe it's not Carol, but that's what the name says. It's an 860 number, and the first three digits are 830.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Is this Carol?
This is Carol.
Okay, it is Carol. What's going on, Carol?
Oh, God, you you hit it on the head. This wasn't going to be the question I asked, but
well, yeah, no, way to stay in the moment.
Yeah, it's a real problem with quote unquote God.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's perfect. It's weird because I was going to go to the call, and then I heard no, go to the thing, and then I did, and then that came up. So this is good that came up for you. Okay, when I jump into that, and guys, forgive my language, but the word that comes up, Carol, is God is a bastard. And I thought it was going to be like an asshole, but it's not. God is a bastard. So that, to me, invokes a little bit of that abandonment stuff, but also just like a jerk who doesn't care about you. That I get is the highest thing, but go ahead and talk to me about what's going on, what that brings up for you.
I think it's past life stuff.
Well, how is it showing up in this life? Because when I say it's past life, I get a no.
Okay.
Now,
okay.
That's interesting. So we're going to go. Thanks a lot, Carol. Now you made me, I'm going to get all woo-woo on people. So existing outside of time and space, right? Past, present, future, all happening in the moment of now. When I test past life, no. But then I see your timeline, and it goes to a future life. So, yes, it's past in the way that it's not now, but it's actually something, if you were to look at it linearly, that it would be out in the future. That's important to know because you can create the future in the moment of now. I guess that's why we're going there, is to let everybody know that whether it's past, present, or future, everything is created in the moment of now. There's a big place in your energy that goes no. So I want to know what that's about. Give me a song, please.
Row, row, row your boat.
Gently down the stream. Life is but a dream. So part of it goes, well, I said dream, but the energy behind it is this is bullshit. So I want to know what the bullshit is. What's going on in your life right now that makes you think that this life is bullshit?
Wow.
Do you know?
Actually, I think well.
Think it's pretty good on the surface? Well,
yeah.
dive in. Yeah, go. I still get that, though. God is a bastard and life is bullshit. We're sticking with that.
Really? Okay. Geez. I think it's self-criticism, I think. Or judgment.
Okay, nope, stop. That was, okay. Literally what I just saw was on TV if somebody says the word of the day or somebody's joking on a show, the streamers go up and the fireworks and the balloons. I got that. Yeah. That's why I was no, stop. Okay, so self-criticism. So what is I'm going to use God here as a metaphor for your higher self and you judging you and criticizing you. and then you sort of brushing that off and taking that on as the view of what God is. So God is the person who judges you and criticizes you and maybe doesn't give you what you want and maybe thinks you're difficult sometimes. So in that regard, you're going to have a problem with that energy, but I know that's not the problem that you had when you got plugged in. So when you got plugged in to that problem, when you said the problem is God, what was that problem about? Is it just the idea of it?
I've always thought it was like the religious idea of God. Some people pray to God and
yeah,
okay.
we're going deeper with this paradigm, and we're going to God is the entire energy, and then you is the entire energy, and not wanting to accept. How do I say that? Not wanting to necessarily accept your role and responsibility within that. And I don't mean that in the religious sense. I mean that just in the sense of knowing that you can be at peace with the world and the world can be at peace with you. And it looks like you know that, but there's still this energy of separation or other. So I want to invoke the formula around allowing all of that energy to line up and allow it all to go in. And what was the second? Okay, so the second part of that was the judgment of yourself. So there's a part of you that goes, well, I'd love to integrate with myself, but I'm just not ready yet. And in that future life, however that creates, is just more separation. And separation is not the highest word. I'm going to the sheets. Let me pull this up. Well, here it is. The first core belief is I can never be God. So, and then the second one is I can only trust you when I don't trust you. So there's this place in you that goes, well, I can never be it. I can never be that thing, but I also can't be that because I only trust it when I don't trust it. So the best way for me to work with it is to almost be like a double agent where I get it and I feel it and it's okay, but also I don't trust you and go away. So that tells me that that kind of is the explanation for why God is okay, but the religious idea of God isn't, when everything is energy. So really it's all the same thing. And when I say it's all the same thing, I don't mean that means that the total true picture of God then gets taken over by the sort of limiting ideology of religion. I mean, let religion have their limiting view of it while knowing that you are able to tap into the totality of that energy and see it in a much bigger way and be okay with it. And I don't know what we just moved for the whole consciousness, but I just got like a huge spark telling me that is a big way to shift everything. If we can not feel, oh, that's where we're going. I'm going back to the beginning of the call about other energy taking away from your energy or other energy pulling your vibration down. If we can know, guys, that as we do work, whatever we think, if we encounter, because there are people of all kinds of belief systems out there. Trust me, I meet lots of them. And some of them are what we're going to define as limiting from where we're sitting. But from another perspective, what we're defining as limiting, we may look like limiting. We may look like limitation. And if we could see the grand scheme of things in the big picture, it's all serving to expand and build and expound. So that's expound. Yeah, expound is the right word. I was like, that's a weird word. So in that regard, that's where we're going back with that judgment and pulling back the judgment and not judging anyone and allowing everyone to have their beliefs, but also knowing at the same time our beliefs are what are sovereign in our energy fields and our beliefs are what powers our world, and that we don't have to allow any of those other beliefs to create for us. And somehow, what was your original question going to be? Because I get that actually relates back to it.
Well, I had two. One of them is a huge lack of self-discipline.
Okay. What's the second one? That's control, self-discipline.
Okay, and the other one is that I hold a lot of tension in my body.
Yeah. Well, okay, so that's that's part of, where I go with that is around not letting the flow, which is the thing we just talked about, was around, there's two things. So the first one, a little bit of that wanting to be controlled, but it's also wanting to control others. So it's both sides of that coin. So we're going to invoke the formula around that so that we can then step into number two, which is just allowing and letting the flow go, letting our own flow go, not having to stop it. What they're showing me is kind of like an assembly line where every 5 minutes the energy is stopped and checked, and it's like, wait, is this okay? Is this, it's like it's constantly kind of stopping it as opposed to just knowing everything is going to get taken care of and letting it flow. When I say there's anything else, I get a no, but when I say that's balanced, I get a no. So invoke the formula there around allowing the flow, and that's where we're going, because then I jump right into your knees, and so that's around really feeling supported and being able to move forward, and there's resistance to you in that, so give me a song.
I'm going back to Row Row again. Let's see. let's see, give me a song. Up on the Roof.
Okay. Well, where I go with Up on the Roof is, and then you fall down. So it's I can let the flow come in, and this kind of goes back to that thing that I said a minute ago, the core belief around I can only trust you when I don't trust you. If I let the flow come in and I really just let it have its way, something's going to happen, so I better keep on it and make sure it does everything the right way, which goes, right back into the control. Which actually plugs back into judgment as well, because if you've got to control it, then it's got to be a certain way, and if it's not, then it's wrong, and if there's wrong, there's also right and wrong, then that brings in the polarity and everything else we just talked about at the beginning of the call. So invoke the formula around all of that,
okay.
And then allow your hara line, we did this earlier as well, but direct your hara line to be straight, strong, and through the ID point. Now I get we're finished. I was waiting for that, and I was like, what else is there? That was it. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. So I'm being called back to the chat and the webcast. Where is the chat? Come on, I'm trying, I'm going. Okay, let's see. Let me hit refresh. Oh, somebody asked, how do you raise your hand on Skype? And Helen, I don't know. I'm sorry. Becky says, I don't know. Nope, well, we're going there. So if it was Becky, if you already asked your question live, this is going to address a different energy, but this is Pennsylvania, so I think that's different. It says, hi, Jarrad, I do have a lot of resistance around love, giving and receiving. Can you help? Yes. So where I'm actually going with this specifically is giving and receiving, that those are two separate things, and those are actually one thing. So I want to invoke the formula around one thing. And I get that's actually it. It's just around letting you guys know that giving and receiving is the same energy because, this is where we're going with that. So then it comes into abundance and plenitude. I don't know if that's a word or if I just made it up, but I like it, plenitude. So if you have enough to buy a house, and then you have enough left over to buy a car, and then you have enough left over to buy a boat, and then you have enough left over to buy a lake house, and then you have enough left over to buy a lake, and then you have enough left over to go to a country club, and then you have enough left over to quit your job and go on vacation. Well, you probably quit the job a long time ago, but so enough is not this like limiting thing, first of all. Enough is this awesome place of always having enough no matter what. So if you have enough and somebody else asks you for something, there's no sense of lack in there, and there's no sense of this takes away from me because I've always got a replenished group. So here you go. Here you have it. And as you have all of this stuff and you're receiving, that makes you plug in and you're able to give, and then somebody else is able to receive, and then as they receive, they're able to give. And it kind of creates this whole cycle. And as the circle kind of comes back, it eventually gets to that place of almost pay it forward. And then my arm just did a weird thing where it like froze. So for those of you that aren't able to receive or give, invoke the formula. And around knowing you're worthy of it, around knowing you're okay, and then be willing to shift whatever that shows up in your hologram and in your picture in your life around what it's going to shift, what it's going to mean to you to actually receive or to give, how that's going to show up and how that's going to make your life different. Be open to that. Wow. So for the couple of you who wrote in about letting in the energy, and we kind of addressed it a little bit a minute ago, that will be something that will really allow you to let it in and let you receive it on a massive amount if you go back and do that. And I don't even know what I just said, so I can't tell you it again, but I can tell you that this call will be available to download, I believe, by tomorrow morning. If not tomorrow morning, definitely by tomorrow afternoon. If you just click the same link that brought you to the number or brought you to the page, you can download it. So listen to what I just said. Next, I want to go to Tatiana. She says, hi, Jarrad. I have terrible pain in my feet. No matter what I do, what formula I use, what modality, I can't get rid of the pain. Could you help me, please? Thank you. That's interesting. When I say, could I help you, I get a no. Now, I'm testing your energy, not mine, because my energy says, absolutely, I can help you. So what I want you to do, Tatiana, is, okay, hold on. We're gonna go connected here for a second. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. Hold on one second. Here we go. We're going to. This is where we're going. We're going to Houston, Texas, 832-434 are the first.
Yes. Hello?
Yes. Hi, what's your name?
Diana.
Diana, will you give me a song really quickly for Tatiana, and then I'm going to come back to you and we're going to work on your issue.
It seems to be the same one that comes up for me. Love Hurts.
Love Hurts. No, that's perfect. That's beautiful. Thanks. I'll be right back with you, okay?
Yes.
That's actually beautiful. Okay, so the feet, if you've ever heard me do the meditation, the feet is where I always have people open those trap doors and drop everything out of their system. But the feet also represent, those are kind of the thing. If you think about it, take a step forward. What's the first thing that goes out in front of you? Well, your knee goes up, your leg goes out, and your foot goes down. So your foot goes out, and it's about stepping forward. So stepping forward into love and allowing the love hurts. And I'm going back to some genetic stuff. So I want you to forgive yourself is the first thing. Forgive them is the other thing that comes up. And know that whoever you're forgiving, you're not forgiving for them. You're forgiving for you so that you can open up so that love doesn't have to hurt anymore. And the biggest person or thing or it or being you can forgive is God, the higher self. Capital S is the thing that I just saw come in there. So it's your relationship to creation and whatever that brings through for you. And it may be at a very, very deep subconscious level, so it may not consciously be something that pops up. But now I want you to open up to that, and around that simply state, I am divine love. And then there's that place in you that goes, no, it doesn't work, it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And that's the place now, love no longer hurts, but doubt is kind of the predominant balance point, the shift point in you. So what I want you to do is move your shift point, move your balance point so that you can now stand in love unscathed. And now what I see is you move that. It's almost like I'm seeing two different things. One is you standing calmly on the ground, and one is on you standing on hot coals getting the tar burned out of your feet. So it's not around love hurts. We're going to the sheets. We're going here. I'm not supposed to be here and I don't belong. And where you're not supposed to be. Can you hear me? Well, we're dropping calls. I'm wondering if maybe something is wrong with the phone here. I'm going to go to Summerland, British Columbia. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Oh, I can hear you. Okay, I don't know what happened. We just dropped about 40 calls, and people weren't responding, so I'm not quite sure. Could you hear me talking to people just now?
No, for about 2 minutes or a minute.
Oh, interesting. All right, well, sorry, guys. We must have had a problem with the instant teleseminar, so I'm sorry for those of you that dropped off. I apologize for that, but, yeah, I don't know. That was a weird checkout. Well, who am I speaking with right now?
Lorna.
Lorna, okay, well.
Not too long ago.
Oh, yeah, we did. We just had a session. Yeah, what's going on? It's great, though, because there were like 10 people in front of you, and then everybody dropped off, and you were the next one up. So,
oh, wow.
Obviously, this
How
is
crazy
the way it was
is
meant
that?
to be. Yeah, right?
Okay.
Well, hold on, Lorna. Before we move into that, what I'm hearing is, I mean, I know obviously there was probably a technical thing with the teleseminar, but literally there was kind of a place in the energy where it looks like some of it just went blank, and there was like almost, this is a weird analogy, but it's almost like the rapture. Like literally some of us just switched into a new dimension, and we lost some of you when we went back. So for those of you that are listening, if you felt lost or if you felt like something happened, make the decision to make the jump and make the decision that you are coming with us and that you're moving forward, because you are by all means invited. So I'm going to invoke the formula there, and it looks like where I said in the beginning of the call we were going to try to make it to the other side, and I wanted 90% of us to go. 90% of us are there, and I want the other 10% to know that when they listen back, they can come along too. So now that I said that, I get we can go forward. So what's going on?
Like 2 years ago, I was totally in my center, and I was seeing from that place, from the expanded mind.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't seeing, and like I woke up in that state. I was in it for 2 weeks. Then I wasn't seen and heard, and I dropped that consciousness.
Wow. Okay, so whatever, this is really weird, because literally what you're just describing is just what happened on the call. Everybody was there, everybody was fine, and then whatever happened, everybody dropped and disappeared. So what I'm hearing is it's just about making a choice. I want discernment around what happened. Lorna, will you give me a movie title?
Impossible, like the.
Like Mission Impossible?
Mission Impossible.
Yeah, you said that, and I got the dun 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 dun. So I go to that, and I go to the story of our ascension. And so literally there is a place in our energy field that we just hit that says to everyone involved, ascension is impossible. And everybody just hit that place. And what they're showing me is, and I don't know, I'm sure everybody has not seen The Truman Show, but for those of you who have, there's a scene in the movie, well, spoiler alert, it's 15 years old. If you haven't seen it by now, too bad. Spoiler alert, Truman lives in kind of a fake reality where he's being recorded, and he at one point tries to go escape. And he gets on a boat, and he's afraid of water and afraid of a storm. And so the producers create a storm, and they create the water going crazy, but he holds on, and he's not going anywhere. He's going to make it. You know, he's going to do this. And there's a scene in the movie where he kind of falls asleep on the boat, and the storm subsides, and he goes, and all of a sudden the boat it looks like it's just sailing into the horizon, right? And all of a sudden it like hits a wall, and it's a wall painted to look like the horizon. And he realizes he's just hit a wall, and at that wall there's a door where he can escape. He can literally take the choice to move out into the real world. So what happened with everybody on the call? We just hit that wall where everybody went, hey, do we want to move into a new reality now? Because here's the door. We can walk right through it. So around choosing to walk through that door, I'm certainly going to choose that, and I get there is something that we all have that is limiting us. Whoa, this is going to hit a few nerves because I went right back to Cuckoo Cuckoo Mrs. Robinson, and then I went to religion. So around releasing the story of whatever religion has to do in the limiting way of where we can go, what we can do, what we can accomplish, and allowing us to now move into a new story of who we truly are, I invoke the formula. Whoa. I am divine love.
That's
I mean, I don't know if it feels really
internally. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, my brain feels like it just spun around in my head. That doesn't happen to me very often. I literally feel like I'm completely on a different call. That's weird. Sorry, I don't mean weird. Somebody the other day said, you said weird in my session, and I was like, no, I don't mean for you. I mean, it was just such a different energy for me. I don't experience that, so it was neat. I'll say that. Lorna, I get we're complete. There's something else I want to do for the consciousness, so I need you to give me a song.
All you need is love.
Okay, so around filling in the gaps, and anybody that's maybe not sure they want to go through that door, kind of letting love come in and just kind of like literally blow them through, just be the wind beneath their wings that's a horrible song. Sorry. That's so cheesy, but it's just like, I just saw that picture of somebody like opening up with a parasail and just letting the wind carry them through. So around all of that, I am divine love. I invoke the formula. That was amazing. Thank you, Lorna.
I still feel this bungee though. Like it's.
You feel what is it?
Oh, I don't know. It feels like a bungee. And
do you feel like you're falling, or do you feel like you're going down or coming up?
No. Horizontal.
Horizontal bungee.
It's really weird.
Well, the first thing I heard was cut it, so we're going to cut that. And then part of it, then what I saw was like, excuse me, we're moving a lot of energy. I got the hiccups. I saw a thing at the fair where you like shoot the little fake duck, and then it turns around and goes the other way, and then you shoot it, and it turns around and goes the other way. So for any energy that is kind of trapped in that horizontal movement, as opposed to all around expanded movement where it's left, right, up, down, right, all circular spinning, all moving, all expanding, that's where we're going. And we're invoking the formula there. Give me one more song. Oh no, it's from me, and the song is okay. It's I think I'm coming down. That's where we're going, or we're going to coming down. So around knowing that you can stay in that wonderful place, and you don't need to keep yourself tethered to any place, and you don't need to stay down in a lower place. You can allow yourself to rise up and ascend. I invoke the formula around that place. And we are finished with that. And I want to try and I'm going to speed up here a little bit, guys. Again, it's nothing to any of you. We've all, as the energy goes, it goes. I'm going to run a little bit over tonight because I want to try to get to as many of this as I can. And as soon as I hear the energy say we're full, we'll be full. But right now we're not full. So right now I'm going back because you're back on the call. It's the 832 number in Houston, Texas.
Yes, hello.
Hi, there you are. Sorry, we got a little glitch there, but I can hear you fine.
I know, and I was desperately trying to
I
couldn't hear anything, and then I started sending you emails.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what happened. A couple of people dropped off, and a few people stayed, but there was a weird little energy exchange there. So for those of you that maybe dropped off the call, go back and listen to what happened, because it was like there was a huge shift. That kind of, I felt like I got knocked into a different space, and when I went to the next caller, 10 calls in front of her dropped, so she was the next one up, and she was literally talking about a place where she was there, and then she got knocked off. And so go back and when you guys download, listen, that was really, really intense. But what can I do for you specifically today?
Okay, well, I have I don't know why I would want to hang on to this, but I haven't been able to figure out how to let go. For about 4 or 5 years, I've had something called burning mouth syndrome. It literally feels like my whole mouth is scorched.
Wow. Well,
and I also have knee problems. You know, I'm with the lady with the feet. I have knee problems.
Yeah, that's going to be a little bit different for you, but it's going to be related to, energetically, the way I see it, it's going to be related to the mouth. The mouth, what I go to, is speaking your truth, and your truth kind of coming out like fire, but then somebody trying to put that fire out. So I'm going to two different things, and one is, what have you not said that you wanted to say, and then what did you say that you wish you wouldn't have said or somebody told you to take back? Now, I don't need you to answer that consciously. I just need you to know energetically that that's part of what it's around. So then I go into the knees, and it looks like kind of getting cut off at the knees, and so it's a fear of power and a very disempowered energy. So I want to invoke the formula. Hold on. I don't care what it is physically. I'm telling you energetically where we're going, and then I want you to invoke the formula.
Okay.
So do that.
Okay.
Now give me a song. Yep, we're going to the blank space. Okay, hold on. Let me pull this back up. So this is where we're going so that you can know.
Well, I was still getting love hurts, and I don't know why.
Yeah, okay. Well, so there's a place in your energy that's unable to see a new thing. You're unable to see a new place. So I am the balance of the frequency of masculine, feminine, and child within the radiation of my light. Now, when I go there, your energy does not accept that. So I want you to consciously invoke the formula, and I'm going to watch as you do it. So just out loud say, I invoke the formula.
I invoke the formula.
So, okay, it literally looks like it kind of goes down, and almost before it hits the knees, it's like it hits a thing that pings it right out of your system. So we're moving into power, but it's the absence of power. So it's the place in you that there's a collapse in the energy that just says, I'm empowered when I'm disempowered. So here, take my power, and I'm not going to say another word about it. And then I kind of see a zipping of the lips. So that also goes back to, like, I want to say around age 5, man in the family. So there's just kind of that, there's a couple of different things going on. So I want to invoke the formula around all of that. Okay, now you're willing to balance it. So I am the balance of the frequency of masculine, feminine, and child. I am the balance of the frequency of my divine self, allowing myself to radiate my light from all dimensions. That's weird, but that's where we're going. And then I am divine love. And then what comes up is stepping now into your power. And kind of what looks like it happens is it looks like it's almost like you were wearing false, false legs underneath as you step out of them, because then I see like it's almost invisible. And then as you start to take steps forward, these new legs start to appear. So around allowing yourself to take new steps in your creation and move into a new place, what's the highest thing? Give me a movie.
Oh, God, I don't see any movies. The Matrix?
Okay, well, that's you would do that to me at the end of the call.
That's one I haven't seen, and I want to know more about it.
Well, okay, so where we're going right now is unplugging from the Matrix. And there is, okay. You guys, that was a big one, but I guess it doesn't have to be. So for everyone who still may be plugged in, I want you to just invoke the formula. And I know people are going to have a question about what is the Matrix and what is all this stuff. When I always talk to people, it's always fun, especially when I talk to other healers, and they go, well, I don't see you in the Matrix. And I go, it's because I'm not here. Part of what we do when we look through the field, I have a great friend who some of you, I think, have actually bought both of the packages because I had got emails saying, you guys are so similar. We're actually really good friends. Her name is Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, and we're actually going to do something in December together. And I just told her yesterday, I said, oh, my gosh, Kim, I have this great idea. One of the things that I want to do, I don't know if I want to do it now or if I want to wait, but I want you to do it with me, is do something around unplugging people from the grid, which is the Matrix. And she went, oh, my gosh, that is the first step. And I said, well, no, the first step is choosing, obviously. Like, you want to choose to wake up. And the first step, once you choose and once you ascend, is to now step away from the Matrix. Now, the Matrix is the place in the energy field that it's kind of, this is a weird way to describe it, but it's the place where all the fear comes from. It's the place that goes, you have to do this, you have to do this, or you're going to die, or you have to do this if you want to succeed or live or whatever. The matrix is kind of that place, it's kind of, I'm going to use the word again, it's that bullshitty place where all fear resides. And it's the place where you get plugged into believing, I have to have this career, and I have to have this family, and I have to cast this vote, and I have to do this, this, and this. It's the system, it's whatever system. The best way I could describe it, it's almost like a prison system, but it's a system that people get put into where they kind of forget that they have total, complete choice, which I love that you brought this up now. I'm no longer mad at you. No, I wasn't mad at you anyway, I'm kidding. But I love that you brought it up because it ties so greatly in with what we talked about at the very beginning, which was having total and complete freedom and choice and sovereignty in our energy. And the matrix is the place of limiting energy where we don't know that, and we're told we can't know that, and we're told we're not supposed to know that, and where we buy into it and then start to feed our energy as a collective into the collective beliefs and continuing those places of not knowing it, not believing it. As I talk about that, I can actually see your legs start to form.
Oh my God.
Can you feel it?
Oh, it's my mouth. I'm knowing. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was forever as a child saying things that I'm not supposed to know, that I'm not supposed to say.
Wow. Wow.
I remember.
You just gave me the chills.
Oh
yeah.
my God, me too.
Yeah. Well, this is going to sound weird.
I got in such trouble for that all the time.
Well, what you just had is what I would call an awakening experience. You just kind of opened your eyes and went, I'm not here anymore. I'm not on the grid. This is what it feels like to not be on the grid.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, the energy is rolling from the top of my head through my body. It's very
I'm so excited right now that it worked out that way.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
I wasn't going to talk about this until next month. I was going to finish all of the teleseries and keep doing Ascension and then go, okay, but you guys obviously came forward, and whatever we did in the middle of the call that kind of rocked our energy, everybody's ready for it. And so those of you who've listened to me a long time, you know that whatever comes up, I'm willing to go with it and I'm willing to roll into it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You just had that experience. And so for everyone else who wants that experience, make that choice. Make that choice.
Oh, that's the other thing I asked for, that whatever I got on this call, I wanted everyone else to be able to receive it.
That's beautiful. Well, what a blessing you are. So thank you for coming forward. And I want to thank everyone for coming forward, because you've seen how everyone else's calls and everyone else's energy has fed into everything else that we've done. So around anyone who wants to make the choice to move forward right now and step out of that grid and have that awakening experience, I want you to just claim, I am divine love. I invoke the formula. I am my divine self. Wow. Y'all rocked me tonight. That was really amazing. I did not expect that. I mean, I try to go in with no expectations. But wow, I'm actually looking forward to downloading this call tomorrow and listening to it. So right before we leave, right before we finish, I want everybody to picture that golden light. We're gonna roll out with a golden light meditation, and it's gonna be a fast one because my dog needs to go outside. I can see her sniffing under the door and begging. So we're gonna allow that golden light to start flowing down through us. Just picture it spinning above. Open your chakras. Allow your body to not only receive this light, but to be this light. And this is not, we're not looking for anything to balance at this point. We are stepping off of the grid, and we are allowing ourselves to fill up with our light self. And it's like, I feel like I'm going to use that word ascending. I feel like I'm literally moving up in consciousness in space right now. So for those of you that want to connect into this energy, allow that golden light to just come down and connect up, and allow it to fill your body and then kind of become solid so that it can kind of start to lift you up. And let that energy lift you, and anything underneath you, anything that may be binding, any chains, any ropes, allow them to just be cut. Allow this light to sort of flash out around the feet and just instantly dissolve anything that may be holding you back. Now, allow this light to start moving all through your body, through your energy field, and picture, it's almost like I see right at the solar plexus, it's almost like a stage door opens up or curtains are pulled back and the window is opened, and this light begins to shoot through your solar plexus and out into reality. And what I want you to see in that reality is I want you to see almost a hologram being projected by this light. And I want you to see it the hologram that you would like to step into, the life that you would like to lead, whether that is in money or health or joy or abundance, wherever that is, relationships, whatever that looks like, however you look like and feel like in that, project that and allow this light to start to build it. Allow this hologram to start filling in with light. And now allow this light to not only start flowing through you, but now allow it to start carrying you into that hologram, into that thing that you're projecting, into that thing that you're building. And welcome to the matrix of the self. Welcome to the place, oh, I got the chills so bad on that one. Welcome to the place where you create everything. Namaste.
The moderator has left the conference.